So welcome back to another semi-quick tip, part number 5, the good stuff. Weathering and grinding up these walls, give them real character. Here you can see me painting that white stripe with some grimy black, and I added a little bit of metallic, like a tin, to it to give it a little bit of a shine, to give it that metallic look to it. From here we'll move on to weathering this stuff up.
Okay, the next step is going to be hitting this metal beam with a little bit of rust because it's been exposed to the elements. This is just the grimy black that I actually put a little bit of metallic, like a tin color, just to get a little bit of sparkle to give it that metal look. But it's kind of old and rusty, but we're just going to hit it with some MIG rust. This is track wash. This one here is light rust wash. And this is actually a pigment that they have. It's basically like a weathering powder. Let's see what it's called. It's medium rust. This is a powder that once you put a little bit of that washes on these two, you can add some texture rust with this stuff. So let's check it out. So I'm using an old ratty brush. It has a little bit of a flared tip to it. You can see it's not perfect. And this you're just going to tap on the metal just to get little specks of rust. Test it on the paper towel to see how it's coming off, if it's big chunks or if it's little dots. All right, so that was a little bit more orangey rust. We're going to move to, it's called track wash. This is a little bit darker, brownish rust. Now before that dries, what you can do is hit it with their enamel odorless thinner. This one's by Ammo, but many of them will work. And we're going to bleed it down a little bit. Now you just want to make sure that you're going to pull it straight down as if rain was washing this down the wall. You can add a little more if you want. Let's say we have a big rust spot right here. We'll just add a big blob. Take off the extra. Tap it into the thinner. And let's pull this down. If it gets a little heavy, you can wash it off with the thinner. And then it'll bleed away. Just add a little bit more depth to the stucco. That's quick. Once that dries, it won't be as drastic. So we'll hit it with the dryer and see what happens. All right, might as well keep this trainer rolling, and we're going to focus on the bottom here. I have 3 washes, like effects, earthy colors. First one is called Cursed Soil by Ammo. Earth, it's a medium, and Damp Earth, a little bit darker. We're going to apply that to the bottom as if water and rain were splashing up on the sides there. I'm going to get again, with this type of thing for the weathering part, you get a beat up brush. This one's flared out a little bit bigger than the last one, just so I can cover more area. But you still want it to have a little control here. So we're going to start with the lightest color. I have this little foam block that I carved out the center. It helps keep things from falling over because you don't want this stuff falling over and getting all over your model, so that helps. Okay, so I took the Kursk. I thought I hit record, but just put a couple dots. Then I realized record wasn't on. So now we're just going to take some of that thinner again. We're going to spread it out. Going to hit the bottom of the wall and almost let it wick up. I'll do it on this other wall section here. Again, you're just going to tiny dots. Just randomly place it there. Wiping off the extra on the brush. Going into the thinner, and now we'll spread it out. If you don't like it, it's a little too dark, just put a little thinner on there. Kind of spreads it out and thins it out. Drag it down to the bottom where it would be darker. Mud kicking up and dust and dirt and plants growing there. We'll add mold and mildew and good green stuff. Make it look good. All right, so next one we're doing is that earth color. This is the medium earth tone. We're going to use a little less of this. Really spread this one out. Again, wipe off the extra. Go into your thinners. Let's spread it out. Drag it across. Work a little bit of it up. But mainly keep this one closer towards the bottom. Go back into your thinner. Wick it out. So now you can start to see some of those multi-tones building up. And now the final one is that damp earth, which is the darkest earth tone. You'll want to use very little of this because the darker colors are stronger. Could be pretty dominant. So now these paints, the ammos and the MIGs and all that, they were technically made for military armor modelers and stuff, but I see no boundaries to paints or any actually artist materials. They can be used in any medium you want to. So now you can put a couple blotches up even higher if you wanted to, just to add more texture. Little dark spots, suck it up with the brush and spread it out. Spread the love. Just random higher spots there. It is a little darker in the camera than in real life. But again, if it's too dark, just take a little thinner. Spread it out a bit. It'll bleed across, and once the thinner and the moisture evaporates, it'll tone it down. It'll settle right down into that stucco base. You want this to be really thin washes and hints and subtle tones. So I'm going to try another color. This here, I don't use much. It's called light dust. It's a very thin light gray, meant for making dust basically on armor vehicles and stuff. But we're going to try it on the wall and see. Maybe we'll try it on the brick, tone spots down a little bit, lighten up some spots on the stucco, and see how this goes. Okay, so after the light dust and also the grime on the bottom, you can see it's got a little more subtle. The light dust just caused a couple little spots to get a little dustier, a little lighter on the wall. Just another layer of texture. And also I put a couple spots on some brick here and there. and thinned that out, and that added some almost like mortar lines to it practically, where it looks like it might be stronger or lighter, and it lightened some of the bricks up. So pretty neat, quick effect. Time for another layer. We're gonna hit again, focus down on the bottom of these walls, and add a little green, little moss and moisture and dew and stuff. First one is going to be this Slimy Grime Light, again by Ammo, and Slimy Grime Dark by Ammo. We'll start with the light first. Again, brushing off any extra, make sure it's not, this is pretty powerful stuff, so you don't use too much of this. A couple little dabs here and there. And we're going to go to the thinners. Spread this out. So what that accomplishes is just another tone onto the wall. You can, this section of the wall will eventually be behind Glenn's greasy spoon, so you would think moisture and stuff would build up there. You could fill up this whole area here with some green fungus and all kinds of good stuff there and really dirty this area up. Glenn's would cover basically this bottom quarter, and or whatever building you put inside, but I prefer Glenn's greasy spoon. All right, so this is the Slimy Grime Dark. This stuff is strong, really dark green color, very little. Wipe off the extra, and we'll go to the thinners. Again, just another tone, another color, building up layers, giving that depth to your wall and structures. So I think the last thing I'm going to do on this, we're going to go back to the weathering powders, and we're going to dirty up underneath where the roof ridge would be. We'll drag a couple little dark colors down from there, just a little overall dirtying up in random spots. So I'll use a light gray, and we'll tap it a little bit along the top and then pull it down. Again, another slight subtle tone. You can do some of the tan, the light tan color. Alrighty, a little bit on the other wall. And we're going to pull it down or mush it in. A little tap. There's a dark spot there. Blow off some extra. Spread that out. And again, subtle tones. Building up the texture. Building up the depth. If you want to go to the dark brown, just over here, got the dark brown, tan, the gray is what I've been using. Dark brown's pretty strong again, very little. It was a little heavy, so I'm brushing it off with the brush. Pretty aggressively, it actually takes it off. So for now, I'm going to call this wall done here. I like how all the textures and the colors and everything has built up, added a lot of character to this wall. Now, as comparison, this little wall here is the texture spray directly out of the can. Again, the same stuff I used on the main wall here, so you can see the difference over all those layers, what they have done. So straight out of the can up here, colors build up, textures, washes, effects, weathering powders, all kinds of stuff has really given this wall some life. Keep on railroading.